Guys. So as we remain quarantined over the past several weeks and probably a lot more weeks to come, I've been doing a lot more cooking. I've been doing a lot more juicing, and I've been making a lot more smoothies. I think we all realize how important at this point in time our health is. I think we realize that it's important to have and maintain a strong immune system. And I thought that I would share one of my special smoothies with you that I typically make in the morning, but there are times when I make it at night before I go to bed. This smoothie is rich in vitamin C, and I consider it an immunity booster. I should preface this by saying that I'm not a doctor, and I don't think that you should take what I am saying as an official statement in terms of what will and what won't work to heal you or make you better. So, this smoothie contains an orange, half a grapefruit, or an entire grapefruit, depending on how you feel. One carrot. You can even add another carrot if you feel like you would like it to be more rich in color, or if you would like it to have more vitamin A. It has this is a piece of aloe here, and so I have about three aloe leaves in the refrigerator, and I just decided to. I usually just cut it up in maybe an inch and a half pieces. And I usually add that to my smoothies, to my juice smoothies. This is a piece of lemon. This is a ginger root. And no, you won't be using the entire ginger, but I just put it there in order to show you what it looks like. Otherwise, this would have been on the counter. I pretty much would have to peel that and chop it up or dice it up into little pieces. And some of you might be wondering, why do I have seasoning near the fruit? I have black pepper here and I have cayenne pepper, but if you do research and if you look up natural remedies for colds and natural remedies just for immune boosting ingredients, you would find that black pepper is very potent and very strong in helping to recover from colds and helping to fight anything that's kind of like respiratory related. It's not a cure, obviously, but I think it helps in terms of symptoms and in terms of just relieving the overall discomfort that you experience. And cayenne pepper is especially known for fighting colds and fighting any type of inflammation that you might experience as a result of being infected with a particular virus or a particular bacteria organism. And again, I just need everyone to understand that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a healthcare expert in these subject matters. I just do a lot of reading, and I know my own body, and I know what typically works for me and what typically helps me to feel better. And I think across the board, these particular foods have been noted for their powerful or for their potency in helping us overcome a lot of the colds and flu symptoms that we experience when we're under the weather, during that particular season. I know right now things are really crazy with the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is, again, in no way, shape, or form a cure, or it might not even be a preventative method in preventing you from contracting the virus. But I think that this supports the immune system, it helps make your immune system stronger, and it's just an agent to embolden your immune system, allowing it to fight off pathogens and allowing it to perform better in its fight against certain invasions. So again, I hope that you stay tuned and I hope that you enjoy the video. Thanks. So guys, this is the results after having peeled and kind of diced up everything. I peeled the orange and I just sort of picked it apart into those slices. I did the same thing with the grapefruit, with the half of a grapefruit. I chopped up the carrots, as you can see, just into some diagonal shapes. And that's the ginger. Now, I left the ginger. I mentioned before that I typically chop up the ginger into I dice up the ginger into very small pieces, which I will do in this case as well. But I think that as I was kind of like preparing the ginger and peeling it and the such, I kind of thought about the fact that many of you might not be familiar with using fresh ginger. I know many of us, we're used to ginger ale, and you might even come across ground ginger in some cases, but I don't know how many of you are actually familiar with handling root ginger. And so, unfortunately, I'm not able to record the process of chopping up of peeling or skinning the ginger, but I did want to leave it whole so you can get a sort of an idea of what it looks like once you do take the skin off. And I would highly suggest, when you do purchase, your root ginger, just cut off what you need. Cut off whatever you anticipate needing in your smoothie or in your cooking or whatever it is that you're doing. Cut off a small piece of what you need, maybe like you might decide you need that much, and then maybe just kind of like chop it down in half. The piece that you cut off, maybe just chop it in half, and then sort of like handle it and peel around it. It's very oddly shaped, as you can tell, and so it's not a smooth peel, but you'll get used to it as time goes on. You'll get more and more used to it. Oh, forgive, that's just like residue from the ginger skin. You'll get more and more used to it as time goes on, and you'll figure out a way to sort of peel it with more precision. And so this is what we have so far. We have the ginger, the grapefruit, the oranges, the carrots. I honestly, I'll be frank with you. Normally, I don't add carrots, but I thought, let me try that. Carrots are healthy. We all know that. And I figured, let me just add the carrots to see if it gives it a brighter color. So part of this is for coloring as well as health purposes, the addition of the carrots. And there's our guy right here, that little piece of aloe that I showed you before. This is what the skin looks like that I cut it out from. So that's the skin, and that's the aloe flesh from within the skin. And again, I don't know how many of you watching this are going to be used to having handled aloe leaf. And so again, I'm not able to record the process of me actually cutting it and peeling it or digging out the flesh, or so, and so forth. But I will hopefully in the future make a video showing you how to do that. But I would really highly recommend you become, of course, check with your doctor, check with your physician, but it's very, very beneficial to add aloe to your diet. It's it's an antioxidant, it's heavily anti-inflammatory. Be very wary with using aloe vera in your smoothies because it's extremely bitter, and we know that usually any foods that happen to have be bitter in taste or have a bitterness to it, those foods are usually excellent for our bodies in terms of detoxing, cleansing our blood, cleansing our cells, and so forth. And so aloe is really advantageous for us to add to our diets. But be very mindful as you're adding it to your smoothies or your drinks or whatever have you, because fresh aloe is extremely, extremely bitter. I tried to be cute one time and make an elixir of like aloe and lemon juice and added it to my tea. I couldn't drink the tea. I used too much aloe, and it was just unconsumable. I just couldn't ingest it. It was very, very bitter. I think I ended up actually pouring it into an ice tray, and then from that point moving forward, I just added the ice cubes to my smoothies, and that worked out pretty well. So again, that's the fresh aloe vera gel. Be mindful how you cut it. Be mindful how much you use. Don't use really big. I would say this slice is okay. If I were to do it all over again, I probably would make it a little bit smaller, but I think I think the taste will be, I think the bitterness of it will be neutralized by the other fruits here. You can also add an apple to this, but I don't have any apples, so, and I don't think even if I did, I would add it. I just want to focus on oranges. I just want to make this a vitamin C, booster, so to speak. And okay, so I'm just gonna throw this off. Maybe I can do it here. I'm I'm literally keeping it real with you. I'm recording this with my iPhone, and so I'm just gonna throw everything together in the blender. So I'm gonna continue just tossing everything into the blender as you see me doing here. And I'll actually, oh, I forgot to mention to you guys, this here is the lemon. So that's the lemon. Forgive my ashy hands. I've been washing them the entire time I've been doing this, handling my phone. I cleaned my phone down with alcohol, so don't worry about germs from the phone and from the cooking, well, from the smoothieing. But this is the lemon that I peeled. I peeled the skin off of that lemon, and so it looks like it was able to kind of get that shape of the other slices. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that up into very small pieces, the ginger I mean, and then I'll show you the finished product. So hang tight. Okay, so now we have everything sort of in the blender, and we also have my Poland Spring water here. And pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for those of you who are interested in how much water to use, I'm basically going to pour enough water to submerge all of the fruit in. I'm not gonna make it too much. I like my smoothie a little bit on the thick side. You can add more water if you want it to be more liquefied. You can add less water if you want it to be more thicker. I like a rich, potent taste, but I like it to be kind of like liquidy and not too viscous. So I'm probably, if you can see the numbers, the fruit pretty much goes up to, I would say, 3. Can you see that? You see, I think you can see the 6, the 5, the 4. The fruit kind of goes barely above 3. So I'm probably going to pour enough water that stops between 3 and 4. So the water will probably stop between 3 and 4 cups. Just enough to submerge the fruit in. And then I'll blend, and then I'll kind of eyeball it and see whether I want it to be thicker or whether I wanted to leave it as is, and I'll add water as appropriate or accordingly. So okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, I stopped at 3 for now, and then I'll add as I'll add accordingly as I blend it and move forward. So we're going to, I usually grind first just to make it just to chop it up as small as possible before I blend. So I'm going to go ahead and grind that. So I decided that leaving the water at 3 was more than enough. This is the finished product. This is what it looks like. And I guess we'll see how it tastes. Now with the cayenne pepper and the black pepper, what you can do, the way that you add this is you can either dash a little bit into your glass after you've poured it into the glass. Just add a dash. When I say a dash, I mean just a sprinkle. Or you can add the dash directly into the blender. There's a little bit more left here. You can just add it directly into the blender. I would say less than a teaspoon of each. A teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon of black pepper, maybe half a teaspoon of the cayenne pepper, and blend it up in the actual smoothie in the blender before pouring it out. I'm going to put it directly on top of the smoothie just to show you what it kind of looks like. It looks pretty sitting on top of it. Oh boy, it is so difficult to do this holding a camera, but let's see. I'm being very careful because I don't want to add a lot, and so I don't want to like pour out a bunch. So that much maybe. See, not a lot at all. So what I'm going to do is stir it in, but again, you can do this directly into the blender. The black pepper should be a little bit easier to work with. Okay, that much. I'm going to probably start sneezing in a little bit because some of it flies into the nose. So you see how it looks there. I like it like that, but I don't want to drink it right into my system like that. But I just did it that way so you can see how pretty it looks, but I'm just going to stir it. So basically I'm just stirring it right into the smoothie. Typically I just put it directly into the blender and I blend it up into the smoothie, but I wanted to show you it this way. So when you make yours, you decide what you prefer, whether you want to put it directly into the smoothie or whether you want to into the blender or whether you want to add it to the glass. So we're gonna go ahead and taste it and see what it's looking like. Let me get a thumbnail. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try it and see what it tastes like. It's good. It's good. It tastes really fresh. It tastes very fruity. What I would suggest to some of you, especially if you're the type of person who doesn't like pulp and like grit, and if you don't particularly like gritty substances in your drink, I don't mind it. I think about it as fiber and as being good for us. It makes you feel full and it's good for your digestive system. But I know a lot of people, you can't really tolerate pulpy, gritty textures to their drink, so, or to their beverages. And so I would recommend that you strain it before drinking it, and that way it comes out a lot more smoother. And so there's that option to strain it, but just think about the fact that you are losing a lot of the healthy fiber when you do decide to strain it. So, okay, I guess that pretty much wraps it up in terms of the smoothie. It's good. Oh, just remember that there is going to be a little bit of a bitter undertaste to it, depending on how much aloe you add. It can have a little bit of a strong kick because of the ginger, but this is a smoothie that's supposed to have a lot of advantageous benefits to fighting a cold, fighting cold and flu-like symptoms, and overall improving and empowering your immune system. So happy drinking. I hope you enjoy. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Leave your comments, like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and let me know how yours turned out. So guys, I actually finished recording the video, but then I thought that I would come back and insert a little clip. I know that I mentioned the grainy texture of the smoothie. Some of you, once you make it the way that once you follow my directions and make it according to what I've showed, I think if you will, realize that it is a little bit on the pulpy and grainy side, and I think a lot of you probably won't really like that. Actually, if you happen to have a higher quality blender than I do, I showed my blender, you see the brand, and that's not really, you understand that I think most of you who are into blending and juicing, you understand that that's not necessarily top of the line. In terms of the qualities of blenders out there, it's pretty much the most basic blender that you can find, but it's efficient. It does its job. But I decided that I wanted to show you, give you a little insight on what it looks like once you do strain if you do decide to strain the smoothie because you find the pulp intolerable, and I wanted to show you what it would look like once you strained it. I kind of wanted to show you the texture of what the drink ends up looking like. It's a lot more smoother. It pours like juice more so than a smoothie. And so I'll try to pour it on the camera. I hope this is, so you can see that kind of looks more like juice rather than a smoothie, right? But I'm sure most of you will remember me mentioning that you're in the process of straining, it causes you to lose a lot of the really good fiber that the fruits contain. And I've saved those remnants for you because I wanted you to see just how much, and that's how much you're losing. So when you strain it, you're not consuming this, and this is actually really good for you. I'm probably just going to end up tossing this, but if I had like maybe yogurt or something like that, I would probably blend it in with the yogurt and eat it, because again, this is really healthy. This is really good for you. A lot of nutrients are still left in this pulp, and so I kind of highly recommend that you just try to tough it out and drink it with all of those components. But again, I know there's a lot of people who just hate pulp. They hate pulp, they hate texture, they want a smooth drink. And so obviously you can use these same fruits and ingredients and just put it through your juicer, but I know a lot of people try to avoid using the juicer because of the cleanup aspect of it. And so I just used a basic strainer, a small, I have a bunch of them different sizes. I just used the smallest one, and I strained it from the blender into here, and then you saw that I just poured it into there, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So thank you for tuning in, and hope you enjoy once again. Bye.